Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a wonderful day. You are listening to or watching the Service Business Mastery Podcast, the podcast focused on service business owners, managers, and technicians who are considering becoming business owners themselves. Today's episode, we have the wonderful Tevis Trower, and we are going to talk about a lot of things. It's the Service Business Mastery Podcast. We always talk about a lot of things. It goes that way. We dive in rabbit holes, and that's why you love us. Well, we're going to talk about superheroes, how they suck at leadership, and if you were tuning into the last episode, you've heard me talk a little bit about this. But I really love getting everybody's perspectives on this and how to really kind of avoid the situation, and if you're already in the situation, how to remedy the situation. But yeah, that's all I'm really going to say about that. Josh, how about you, buddy?
No, this is a great topic. It's one of those things you can always go deeper on. So I'm sure Tevis is going to do a great job. We had a great time talking to her before the episode aired, and she's got a little twang in her voice, little y'all in her language there. So you guys should enjoy this one.
I love it. That's awesome. Welcome to the show, Tevis.
Thanks so much. I feel right at home already.
So tell us a little bit about you, your background, and kind of what makes you an expert.
Oh yeah, right. An expert at what? Well, gosh, that's such a big question, Tersh.
Right.
Okay, what about me? I'm sitting in Woodstock, New York, because I ran away from New York City because I wanted trees and woods. I grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, so the accent is authentic. It comes and goes depending on who I'm speaking with, how tired I am, and if I've been drinking bourbon. So there's a lot of correlates here. I can say it's probably coming out now because of Dear Tersh inspiring it.
That's funny.
But yeah, so I grew up the kid of hippies. No one ever like pushed a big overachiever thing in terms of the corporate world. But they did talk a lot about what it meant to be a full human being, right? They did talk a lot about how do you self-identify, how do you evolve, and how do you lead? How do you inspire? And so I bounced my way into corporate America because I was curious about it. It was like this opposite world. And wandering around the halls of various organizations, I started to realize, geez, we all bust our butts to get here. And pretty quickly we fall out of love with our jobs, right?
Sure.
Like we name the company or name the profession. I mean, most of us really have to put some effort into being employed or running a business. Like it takes effort to get where we think we want to be. And so why do we fall out of love with it so quickly? And so that kind of put me on a course to want to answer that question. So maybe I'm the expert at exploring that question.
I love for me, it's very much, I get bored. I mean, I'm more of what I would consider a wartime leader. So as soon as we get all the policies and procedures in place and things are running smooth, then it's like, oh, I'm a glutton for punishment. Let's go do something different.
Let's blow something up.
Yeah, exactly.
And don't follow your own procedure.
That too. Yeah.
There's a lot to be said about adrenaline in that, right? I mean, George Patton said that it was peacetime that couldn't stand, right?
Exactly. As weird as that sounds, there's some people who are like in the gun and some people listening to this or watching this, they're like, man, will it ever just kind of smooth out? Like I'm working towards the day where I don't have to worry. I don't have to answer questions. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. Like I just want it to Cadillac along and just hit the cruise control. And for me, I feel like, that's the moment I get bored. That's when TriStar, my other air conditioning company, when that company got to that point, that's whenever I started the other company or purchased the other company and started that. So it's like, nah, I'm good.
Yeah. Do you know what though, Tersh? I think a couple things. For one thing, you're talking about the difference between, well, there's a couple types of stress, and one is the distress, right, of being overwhelmed and oh my God, COVID, or oh my God, is the
Yeah.
company going to make it, or oh my God, what's going on with our country, or what's going right, all the OMGs,
Mhm.
right, that can come up. And you're talking about something called eustress, EUSTRESS. And eustress is where we respond to stimulus in a positive way because we don't feel powerless. We're right. We do feel a sense of
Oh.
agency. And so I think it's probably kind of a hallmark of a lot of leaders. The other thing that I want to say is I actually don't believe that most people ever allow themselves to go into cruise control other than when they're driving their car because the nervous system isn't wired that way.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It's wired to scan for danger. What should I be worried about? What should I be worried about? What should I be worried about? And if that weren't the case, then mindfulness and meditation and pharmaceuticals wouldn't be the gazillion-dollar industries they are, right?
That's true. I will tell you that there is nothing more terrifying than me leaving like Lowe's or Home Depot or somewhere and then pulling in the driveway and saying, "Oh God, I hope I didn't hit anybody. I hope I didn't run a red light." I do not remember that drive to the house.
Tersh.
Because I am not going there.
Don't tell me you've never done that. I can't be the only person in the entire world that's ever
No,
done that.
I love a
have
good-
so driven to, especially if you get on I-16 in Southeast Georgia and it's nothing but trees and it's like da-doom, 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 and it's like, oh yeah, I'm in a deep meditation here all the way to the house.
Okay, I love a good true confession, and that may be up there because you're right. We all zone out.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. That's funny. But yeah, I mean that you're right though, because there's a lot of people making a lot of money off of meditation and everything else, because it is something that we need, that we don't focus on. I mean, you have websites where you can actually have it running quote unquote focus music in the background. My app, I mean my calendar for Outlook, it created a focus time. So it's like, hey, we're going to create a focus time for you, and we're going to block out your schedule every single day for an hour.
Does it
so you
work?
can focus.
I was just going to ask, does it work?
Well, it allows me not to block stuff or not to add stuff to that time. And because we live and die by our schedule. Julie and my wife and I, we live and die by the schedule. So if it's blocked off on the schedule, we don't schedule anything.
Yeah.
And
Oh, I love that.
everything, that all the apps and everything, we have them integrated with our calendar. And so I have most of them set so that it won't allow me to double book myself.
Oh wow.
Granted, sometimes I do, but most of the times I don't. And so while I might not be focusing, the time is kind of blocked off for the most part. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I want to applaud that because I think a lot of people have the intention to give themselves decompression time, but the minute the reminder comes up, they're like, "Oh, I need to check my emails," or "Oh, I need to see how the market's doing today," or
I mean, my worst thing is reaching over to scroll through TikTok. Oh my gosh.
I have
Another
avoided
confession.
That app will suck you in.
Oh
I
man.
have avoided because I'm already very addicted to various forms of social media, and it's enough.
Yeah.
How many times do you guys pull up Facebook and you go to message somebody, and all of a sudden you're lost 15 minutes later? Like, what was I trying to do?
Yeah.
Facebook is really good at their job.
It happens like every day for me. I'm like, what was I trying to do? And I can't remember. So I have to log out, and then I'm like, oh, I remember. Then I go back in. Like the same thing happens. It's this endless cycle.
Yep.
Must complete one task.
I know, it's so hard.
It really is. So we got this thing, and I don't have it sitting right in front of me because I think when my kids look at the joys of kids being off for summer, we had this little cube timer, and it's got a 5 and a 15 and a 30 and a 60, and whatever's on top, it automatically sets a timer for that amount. And so I've found that in 30-minute increments, I do good, highly focused work, deep work. And so taking and just flipping that cube over to the 30-minute mark, and then allowing it to go off, and then forcing myself to change tasks even if they're not completed. That's the hardest thing for me. But
Do you think there's a benefit to changing the task when you've
yeah,
dived in?
for me, it's because there are several tasks that I do that are not ending tasks. So it's just something that would go on
Perpetual.
forever.
Yeah.
And instead of creating a physical, okay, once I finish this paragraph stopping point, it's a timed stopping point. And I find like that helps me disconnect with it too. And so then I'm not constantly thinking about it.
Have you guys heard of this concept called cave days?
No. Mm-mm.
Cave days is kind of a thing. You can probably Google it. There's actually a support site for it to help people to do this. But you periodically you block off an entire day just for creative work, just to research, come up with great ideas, write stuff, right, etc. And because it's so hard, because as Josh brought up, there's always something to buzz to pull you into Facebook. Oh, I gotta write so and so, right? There's like groups that you can join, and you commit to keep each other on task, right? Like on track. And if you start to waver, then they're there to get you back in your cave.
I mean, that is a really cool concept, and it's almost like meditation, because like, what do you meditate about? Well, just as soon as you start to think about something, don't think about it. And then it's like, as soon as you go into, well, what am I going to do for the full day? I guarantee you'll fill the day up with something. I have friends of mine who go to cabins, and they're content creators, and they'll go just to create a calendar, a marketing calendar type outline. And they'll go for the day or the weekend, and just kind of disconnect. And they purposely go places that doesn't have cell service or Wi-Fi. And so I don't know. I'd have an anxiety attack, I think, if I did that.
Oh my God. Are you kidding? I love it. That sounds like heaven.
Oh, geez. I don't know.
It
So
does until you get back in cell reception and turn your phone back on.
And then you have heart failure, right?
I'm gonna put my phone
You
over
got
here.
150 notifications.
Yeah, it's gonna die because of how much it's
But
vibrating.
But wouldn't it be worse if you didn't, and then you'd be like, I guess I'm really not that important?
That would be me.
So true.
So I read a book by Ari Meisel called The Replaceable Founder. And basically, it's an entire book about automating things and spending a little extra time right now doing something so that you don't have to do it later. Kind of like a time management stuff, but like using your bill pay in your bank instead of every month remembering to do something.
Oh, yeah.
Just have it automatically set up. And that's kind of what I've done with like email reminders. I have an automatic reply on my email that says, that I only check my emails twice a day.
Yeah.
And so it's great, because then it limits the expectation of an immediate response. And then also it lets people know that, hey, I'm only going to check this here twice a day. And so I don't have to worry about my emails all day, every day. I literally just can check them in the morning and check them in the afternoon, and then be done with it, instead of having
stuff done.
a pop-up. Because every time, I know that for me, I've measured it, and every time one of those pop-ups come up on the bottom of my screen of my computer, it takes 6 minutes away from whatever I'm doing.
You've measured it.
I have, yeah. And I took the time to do that. And I don't know if everybody's like me, but it takes me 6 minutes to, even if I don't click on it, don't do anything, if it just does that, it takes 6 minutes away from my ability to accomplish the task. And so I had turned off all notifications. My phone's notifications are all turned off.
Tersh,
so
I gotta ask you, you are so on it for yourself. Have you always been this way? Like, have you always been so aware of your actions and cause and effect? Because
I don't think so.
You have, or you haven't?
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know. I met Ari Mizell and then read his book, and I was like, oh, I need to do that. It's a combination of being super cheap and trying to be efficient at the same time. Because if I can do more with less time, then I don't have to pay somebody else to do it. It's kind of a thing.
But
And
have you always been cheap and efficiency minded?
yeah, I guess I have.
Okay.
I don't know. Never thought about that. Thanks.
It's
Something
not
to
every day
ponder
your
on.
guests come on here and call you cheap.
No, well, he called
Okay.
himself cheap.
I don't care.
You asked the question.
If the shoe fits. No,
Yeah.
I mean, I think so. Yeah. I'm always been a policy and procedures type person. That's my mindset, is build a policy. If I repeat something more than once, I don't want to repeat it a third time. I want to create a video and never have to repeat it again.
Yeah.
That's just the way that I am. And I don't like repeating myself. And that's probably part of it. I don't, that's a pet peeve of mine. So,
But do you think you've always been attuned to like being as amazing as you can be? Because that's what I'm really hearing.
Nah,
Don't get all humble. That's
no,
boring.
it's more of a it's more of a I know where my strong suits are, and I know where my weak areas are, and I would say a master delegator. So I shine in certain areas because I only do the task that I'm really good at, and then the ones that I'm not good at, I delegate off to someone else.
I got a fist bump. That's those are words to live by, right? That's kind of the opposite of the superhero thing that you brought up, Josh, right? That you let other people shine at what they're going to shine at.
That's a good point.
So
and kind of circle back to that. Yeah. Go ahead, Josh.
I was just going to say, so how do we get more people to start moving towards that path is really what I'm sure a lot of the listeners and stuff would want to know.
We get some scientists to hang out with Tersh and to extract some of his DNA. Then we grow some stem cells. And anyone who aspires to leadership gets some stem cells implanted, and then they have this incredible ability to not think they're a superhero. Do you know, we were talking about fear, right? And we were talking about the meditation thing, and we were talking about driving home and having 8 zillion things pass you and you don't even notice it. And I think of the superhero leader as being on that kind of autopilot, right? That for some reason they have made a decision that that associates their worthiness on the planet with being the end all and be all, right? It may come from fear, like if I don't do it, it won't be done right, or if I don't do it, it'll take too long, or I got to do it to know that it's even getting done at all. And some of it is the thrill of accomplishment, right? But that's actually not leading. That's just being a producer.
So basically, the producer with a title, or
the producer. But you think about so I first started to think about this when I was watching some of the folks I worked for at Time Warner, right? Huge company. And here you've got 8 zillion people with great minds, amazing experience, right? And someone would walk into a situation and be like, step aside. This is what we're doing, right? And everyone in the room would just go, right?
Yeah.
And so you think about Superman, right? You've got all the townspeople in Gotham or wherever. No, he was in Metropolis, right? And there's
Smallville.
some kind of a villain, right? Or some kind of an evil or danger. And all the townspeople are like, oh, Superman, come save us. And if Superman doesn't show up, they're all just, going to lay over and die? I mean, think about it. Is that the kind of organization that you want? Or do you want the kind of organization that you're like, hey, everybody, we've got a problem. What are we going to do to solve it?
Exactly. So, yeah, because I love that. the granted the as the hero, as the superhero, it's really cool to have that the ego part of it. And we've said this before, um, my ego has driven me in the past to be the person that if you have a question, just give me a call. At first, it might sound like a humble, helpful, like just give me a call if you need anything. And then it turns into, well, now they're going to have to call me for everything because I have to make all the decisions in the entire company. Then it's like, okay, I can't be productive at all because the entire company calls me constantly all day long. Well, it's very much, I don't know. We talked about this earlier. It's one of those things where for me, once we just said, hey, don't call me with any problems unless you have 3 solutions.
Yeah, exactly.
And then once they did that, then it created that empowerment. And so it takes me away from being the superhero and allows each one of them to be their own hero within the business. And so, like you said, if Superman doesn't show up, or if I'm sick, if I have the flu, they can make their own decisions. And that doesn't really resonate for like service business owners, guys and gals who are listening to this. A lot of times you don't think about this, but what happens if you got put in the hospital? What happens if you like broke your ankle or got knocked unconscious and you're in the hospital and you treat the business like you're the superhero? Like, how does the business keep on going? And it in reality, it won't, or if it does, then you've been holding people back because they could be making decisions themselves.
Yeah, I think that's a super important point, and I think that it really boils down to not only being willing to communicate transparently enough to your staff what matters and what is the basis, like what is the thought process that you go through to make a choice, so that they can then apply it. And yeah, that's where you're going to get the discretionary effort. That's where you're going to get probably access to new ideas because everyone screens a situation with their own POV, their own bias. And so they're going to see things that you can't see. And it's funny. I went to this think tank with a bunch of leaders, and the one guy was from the Army War College, and this like 20 years ago. You guys, I'm an old lady, and I'm like in my mid 30s at the time, and I'm sitting next to this colonel from the Army War College, and we're talking about empowerment. It's 20 years ago, and he's saying how through all the desert storms, right, et cetera, that they had learned that they could not continue to concentrate power with the generals, right, with the brass, because the information's changing too quickly. The folks on the boots on the ground have a lot more both emotional intelligence because they're there like in the moment, so they're getting the gut hit, right? And they've got the actual intel, the data that's coming. So I just got to say, if a retrograde type legacy structure such as the Army can figure this out, how to create some autonomy and decision making, it strikes me that we, in running our service businesses, ought to be able to do that too. And I think one thing really gets in the way of that, because Josh brought up the question of trust, and that is, if we don't trust our people, right? If we don't trust them to care about our business, to be smart enough to understand what's going to support the business and what's going to hurt it, right? And to really think through that, then the business is going to fail. Because you're kind of setting up a formula that you talked about, Tersh, where your phone is ringing constantly, you have no freedom, and your business is only going to be as smart as you are. So
yeah, that's the thing about
That's
it.
a great point.
I want to hire people that are smarter than me to replace me. And when you're first, this is a tough transition for business owners, that especially if you've been the guy for a year, 2 years, 10 years, 20 years, like, and like you did accounting, you did, all the payroll, AR, you caught the service calls, to relinquish some of that stuff is kind of tough. And for me, this goes back to the delegation side of things. Like, I don't like doing accounting, so I'm going to hire somebody who's really good at accounting, and I don't have to worry about it. And same with like payroll, and like there's stuff that I'm just not good at, and I'm not good at it, and I don't like it. And so I'm going to hire someone else to do it versus holding myself back by just, saying that I want to have my hands tied into that. And so, but it can go the other way too. Like if I delegate it and then forget it, it can crash and burn. But I can see, and I've talked to people who really struggle with hiring people who are smarter or better than them. And it's not necessarily in the accounting side of things. I think that most of us as technicians who became business owners, we don't have a problem hiring an accountant that's better than us. But it's the technicians, like hiring another service technician who's smarter than I am. Exactly. Challenging my authority as like, okay, I'm the person who's supposed to know all of this, not me. Get me somebody who can work on boilers. Like, they don't call me to ask me the boiler questions. They ask them, and so I love that part.
Well,
that definitely takes ego out of the play a little bit to be able to tell yourself that and hire people like that.
But I think that it's so easy for us to sit on this conversation and talk about this. And all of us have an ego blind spot. I don't care who you are, right? So the question is, how do you begin to understand where your ego is getting in your way as a leader? And
how do you?
Well, the big thing that comes to my mind is pride, right? Like if you sat back on that drive back from Lowe's or Home Depot,
we ain't gonna forget about this.
And you're meditating and blanking out and hopefully not killing anyone.
Meditating, air quotes, meditating.
So I'm gonna put on my game change hat, right? And you're thinking to yourself, what do I really stake my pride on? Like, what is my identity attached to? What is really important to me for me to believe is true of myself? So like that guy who won't hire the boiler person because he wants to be the smartest one in boilers, right? Or that person who won't hire the accountant because they want to control everything, etc. Right?
Right.
We have to start to get a sense of where our identity, right, our holy cows, or this is who I am, right? I am blank, is actually getting in the way of us being the leader that we could be. And I'll tell you the easiest way to catch it. What pisses you off? What makes you uncomfortable? What makes you clench?
Well, that's easy. Everything.
Well, that is not true. You know that is not true. Right?
Just come be a fly on my wall.
But you know what I mean? There are triggers where you go, and that's usually because something is challenging your conviction about yourself, about what it means to be good, or what it means to be valid, or what it means to be the big boss, or what it means to be this, or what it means to be that. And all of us have picked up these algorithms in our brains since the minute that we were born. So we got to start to notice, where am I getting triggered? Because I promise you, wherever you are getting triggered is where you have to grow.
That's great.
Here we are taking notes. We're just writing just as fast. Like we can't listen to this again. Right? Yeah, I love this.
Sorry for the delay, everybody that's listening.
No, it's really awesome because you mentioned, I love the I don't want to hack up his name. The guy from Toyota that introduced the stop stop the line manufacturing, because you mentioned the Army and they had, localized intelligence, and they, before it got all the way up to the brass, they could make the changes down low in the chain of command. As far as it goes with the Toyota assembly line, where like anybody along the assembly line could press the stop button at any moment. And I think that sense of empowerment, I mean, obviously it was a game changer. They write books about it. And so I think that's amazing concept.
Yeah. Can you trust your people?
I love that you turn your hat backwards for us.
Yeah. Part of the crew.
This is the prerequisite to be on the show from now on.
You have to wear a hat.
Yeah, right. Everybody.
Uh-huh.
From now on.
Yep. Cool. Josh, I'm gonna let you close us out.
Yeah. So Tevis, what would be, if somebody wanted to get in touch with you and to talk through this stuff and start to understand some of this stuff for their business, how would they go about doing so?
They can find me. I'm so easily found. For one thing, how many people are named Tevis? Tevis Trower, and they can find me at balanceintegration.com. I got to tell you, my big passion is that I think high achievers are some of the most fascinating people on the planet, right? Because they're like a Tersh or a Josh who really organize themselves towards whatever goal. But all of us have blind spots. There's a blind spot in every single human being. And the fun of getting on the other side of that is what I'm interested in, because that's where you really start to excel. Like that's where you go beyond an idea and you have the capacity to actually exceed anything that you might have imagined for yourself. So
that was great.
Mic drop. We're done.
Yep. What's the book you got behind you?
This is my book. It came out in last year, in early fall of last year. It's called The Game Changer's Guide to Radical Success. And it does a lot of this kind of hacking of the algorithms that all of us have. So like if you know that you've achieved X, Y, or Z, but you're kind of curious how much further you could take yourself, or you know that with all the boxes that you've checked, that checking a box is not the same thing as being happy or fulfilled, right? This book is for you because it helps you keep all this awesome success that you've got. Like all the box checking doesn't stop, but it helps you actually enjoy your life and take it even further. And that's what I'm passionate about.
Sweet. And I put a link to that in the show notes already. So anybody who's watching this live, click on that link and get you a copy of Tevis's book. So thank you so much for coming on the show today. And thank you for everything that you've done and shared this. And really, honestly, the conversation has been great. I think Josh would agree with me on that one.
Thanks, guys. I really had a good time.
Yeah. So if anybody has any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to Tevis and LinkedIn or balanceintegration.com. And then I also put the link to her book in the show notes. With that being said, I hope you have a wonderful and safe day. Thank you again for watching or listening to the Service Business Mastery Podcast. It is a podcast focused on service business owners, managers, and technicians who are considering becoming business owners themselves. I hope today's episode really helped to answer some unasked questions. I know we're kind of all over the place, but we're really passionate about really just helping you focus and learn to be move away from the superhero mindset and kind of understanding what it is before you can move away from it. But anyways, hope you have a wonderful and safe week until we talk again next time. See ya.